I like a large caramel macchiato with an extra shot and whipped cream, please.
Coming up.
Wait, hold on. How much is that?
$4.85.
Okay, better drop the extra shot. What does that make it?
$4.20.
Better make it a small. What does that make it?
$3.30.
Better drop the whipped cream. What does that make it?
Less calories.
Oh my God, and he flew all the way to New York to tell me that. That's so romantic.
It's beautiful, really.
You're not even allowed to leave the state.
What's that now?
Using his vast knowledge of history and politics, we start our day off right with motivational speaker Richard Battle.
Love having him on the program. Mr. Battle, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning, Al. We're doing great. Thanks for having us bat lead off again today.
We're into that time. Even you, if I was looking at the weather correctly, you guys weren't scorching, burning up down there in Texas. Is it a pretty normal, pretty nice fall right now for you?
Well, it's going to be in the mid-90s this week, but
that's nothing for you. That's nothing for you. What's a 90? That's like old hat. Things going well. How's your softball team?
Well, we're doing well, getting ready for the big trio of tournaments in the fall. So
fantastic. Good for you. Thank you very much for coming on. We're going to talk a little bit about experience and competency today, and I kind of like the idea that you put those two together. Is there some correlation between them?
Well, we've talked about both of these type issues before, and it's interesting, especially as we watch this mayoral candidate in New York, because we see a lack of experience. But as I say, some of these people, the only thing that it sees their arrogance is their ignorance. And that's exactly what I see. And people who have no competence or experience act like they know everything. And just because of the theories they espouse, they think all of those will work regardless of what history might tell us.
This guy is very interesting to bring him up. Maybe talk a little politics or not, but he has no political experience and just, by the way, want to run the biggest city in the entire nation. It's gutsy, but he's got the language down as far as, what people want to hear evidently in New York, and he's smooth. He's the leader.
I think he's beyond smooth. He's slick, but he's only been in the country a few years, went to school, went to work in government, got elected to the city council. And so now he thinks he can run this city, and he's never done anything as much as run a lemonade stand. And we've had politicians like that around the country. And it's harmful to us, regardless of whether they're liberal or conservative, to have people without that experience, because the experience builds competence.
It's the kind of experience, and again, the experience and competence thing we're talking about. We had Jesse the Body Ventura, right? WWA wrestler, became governor of this state. Sometimes people can get lost in personalities. People are yelling at the radio. Donald Trump's kind of the same, at least. He created $1 billion and I don't know how many businesses, so he had some moxie behind him. We had a World Wrestling Federation guy running this state. It's really weird what people will take if it sounds right.
Well, yes. And so I always ask the question, if hindsight's 20/20 and experience is the best teacher, then why won't the people that have neither listen to the people that have both?
Oh, I love that a ton. You want experience and competence, but I don't want, you learn from your mistakes. I don't want that from my doctors. I want my doctors learning from all the other mistakes for human history, and that will get us to a certain point. I get experience is big, and experience means both positive and negative, right? I mean, everybody fails once in a while. You've got to learn from it, but it's learning from those failures we got to get to.
Well, exactly. And so the other thing I'll always say is smart people learn from their experience. Brilliant people learn from the experience of others. And one of the things that's kind of a threat today, not because of the information and world experience that we can learn from, but because it dissuades us from learning how to critically think, and that's artificial intelligence. It can be a great tool if we are masters of it, whereas it can be harmful if it's a master of us.
Yeah, I like your idea of using history and learning from it. You're a history guy. Our founding fathers were probably the perfect example of that. They're going to start a new country. Well, if we're going to do this, how are we going to do it? And they kind of tore apart, how the Romans did it, how the Greeks did it, how these guys did it. And they looked at all of them and said, what's the best and the worst of all of those, and how do we fix it? I mean, they were quite well read for a bunch of 20-year-olds.
Well, they were extremely well read, but the foundation, in my opinion, of the whole thing was they had a proper understanding of human nature. And that's a conflict today. And there's two choices, and everyone has to decide how they believe human nature functions. These people today want us to believe that human nature evolves, and because we're getting better as humans all the time, and some people believe this theory that humans will become immortal in the next few years and divine. And those people that believe that treat issues differently than the people who believe human nature is the same today as it was from the beginning. And we can use those history lessons and learn from them.
Is it just an innate want to be superior that's, in all men, and that, like you say, the Constitution, it's in writing, you can read it, but they want it to be this living, breathing document so I can kind of change a little here and change a little there, because we're smarter today than they were 250 years ago. It's this need to be superior than the last generation for some reason.
Well, and that's the thing that politician in New York talks about is because the theories that I have didn't work before because it wasn't us that was doing them. We know better now. We're going to do it better, and that's the way that theory's been espoused for 100+ years as well. And every time it falls on the same things because I believe human nature's the same. And I've used the analogy Adam and Eve, whether you use the Bible for literature or for faith. The story of Adam and Eve, when they both eat the fruit and God comes in and asks them what they did, they start pointing the fingers at each other about whose fault it is. And all we have to do today is go to a little 4 or 5-year-old kid's birthday party, and somebody breaks a glass and the mother says, "Who did it?" And all of a sudden, all the fingers come out and everybody points at each other. It's exactly the same as Adam and Eve. And that simple analogy to me proves human nature is the same as it has always been.
Oh, absolutely. I just love the analogy of it all. We've got to go to break. We'll come back. We'll talk some more about, what we're talking about today is experience and competence. And are they the same? How do they go together? Can we learn from our own mistakes? We'll talk about it with Richard Battle right after this on the Al Travis Show.
September 24th is Suicide Prevention on the Air Day in Minnesota. Every dollar raised supports SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, providing education, advocacy, and programs that save lives. And on September 24th, your gift will go twice as far because every donation will be matched dollar for dollar. Visit save.org to see our work, learn how you can help, and donate. Remember, September 24th, because every voice can save a life.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
We've got him, Richard Battle, in talking about experience and competence. I loved your conversation, your talk about the possible mayor of New York and the idea that we haven't tried that my way yet. I think it's Charlie Kirk. He's like an internet guy. You see all these little videos of him. He's always on a college campus asking some person with a socialist T-shirt on, where do you think socialism's ever worked? Name me one country you think it worked. And to a T, they're like, well, we haven't done it the right way yet. It's like they cannot look at that 100-year history you're talking about and say, maybe it just doesn't work. Well, we haven't done it in the Al version yet. When you throw Al in there, it'll work. It's amazing that there's like 40% of college kids believe socialism just hasn't been tried right yet.
Well, if
That's
they put
scary.
me in charge, I know it'll work also.
Well, it'll look like capitalism, but it's all socialism. Oh, that's funny. So other things that make, excuse me, experience and competency work together.
One of the things I liked about the late William F. Buckley, who founded, golly, name of the magazine, I can't remember, but he was a great conservative, and he said he'd rather be governed by the first 535 people in the New York City phone book than by Congress. And what he basically meant by that was people who have everyday jobs are just as competent and more so because of that experience than lifetime politicians who've done nothing else. And to me, that's the important thing. Now, AI can be a valuable tool, but the biggest threat to it to me is it can be a crutch also, just like when kids in school went from doing their own math with a pencil to using calculators. If you don't learn how to do it and get that internal thought process and critical thinking, then it's a crutch. And when it's not there, then you're hindered. And so to me, that critical thinking knowledge is the most important thing we teach kids, and teaching them about their freedom and how to maintain their freedom goes along with that.
So I think there's a ton to that. The thought process of how to get around a problem, how to think through a problem is 10 times more important than if you memorize 8 times 8 is 64 or whatever, but you got to have the mechanics behind it. My dad, long story, but my dad could fix anything. My dad didn't have a degree in anything, but my dad tore stuff apart since he was a kid, figured out how to put it together. There was nothing my dad could not rewire, put back together. I'm like, how do you know how to do that? He goes, think it through, kid. I don't have that gene in me, but there are people who, if you learn how to learn, there's not. My dad had an old Corvette made of fiberglass. Taught himself how to make fiberglass. I don't know. He just did. They're just different people. We should have that kind of thought process in our elected officials, is what I'm saying.
Well, exactly. And when I became alarmed about it was I ran into a guy and said he threw in a couple of premises to AI and it wrote a book for him in 5 days. And now they advertise doing it in a day. And so in my volumes, I'll put a disclaimer that there's no AI used in any part. So for better or worse, it's my thinking and creativity. And I think we got to make sure our kids and grandkids have that capability to think, identify their personal gifts, and be able to maximize those, and then use the tools, not let the tools use them.
Shouldn't we expect the same from our politicians? Like you were talking about lifelong politicians.
Yes.
There are families that just keep panning down the seat. None of them have ever done anything.
Well, yes, and that's exactly why we became independent from Britain, because we didn't want to have a House of Lords, and we didn't want to have a caste system where people had titles that were inherited. Everybody has the opportunity based on their own merits, and we as voters, it's our responsibility to enforce that. And if we don't do it, that's on us, not on those ill-prepared people that we send to elected office.
I love that idea. We've got to find a way of getting people in office that have done something before they got to office, so they can have something to refer to, back to some experience to draw on. In
job applications, I mean, one of the greatest questions that's asked is, what was one of your greatest failures or shortcomings, and how did you overcome it, and what did you learn from it? Well, we ask people that we want to work for us those questions, but a lot of times we don't ask politicians those type questions when they're charming us and asking for our votes.
There was a time, that had been in the 80s and 90s, when they were coming up with all kinds of really weird questions to ask people. I remember one of them was, what's your biggest fault? And of course, I'm sarcastic. I work too hard. I was applying for a job, for God's sakes. I have a problem with working too hard. Anyway, we've got enough time to push this because I really want you to get these books out the door. The man wrote Made in America by AmeriCANS, Not AmeriCANS. It started something that you're going to want to get the entire set picked up. He then went on to AmeriCANS Who Made America, 18th Century Birth of the Republic, and now the latest, Americans Who Made America, 19th Century Growth, Division, and Reunification. You tell me, sir, I can get all three on your website, because if you don't have these books in your bookshelf is incomplete. I'm telling you that. Your children and your grandchildren should be reading these books. They're fantastic. How do I get them, Mr.
Well,
Battle?
thank you. At website richardbattle.com, we have all 12 books. They're all signed. If you would like one inscribed for a gift, and holiday season is coming,
yes,
email me, richard@richardbattle.com. After you order, we're happy to do that. Amazon has all 12. 11 are in Kindle form, and 8 are on audio form, including all 3 of those.
Hard to get them autographed on audio form, though.
Well, but you get to hear the audio presentation.
You get the golden tones of Richard Battle. I'm serious. Get those books. You're going to have, now kids are back in school. Some are going off to college. You're going to want to give graduation presents coming up this year. Order them now. Have them put away. Christmas is coming up. These are great Christmas gifts for kids that like to read. Find a way of doing that. Pick them up. Get them early so that Mr. Battle can sign them. I don't know. You do it for me, obviously, because you love me. Authors signing books just make a difference. I'm sorry, I don't want to get your hand all cramped up, sir, but when you have something nice in that book, it makes it special for a child. Order them up today. Get it at richardbattle.com. Anything else I can do for you, my friend? You're wrong not to have it. I love these books. And if you really want to be crazy, I got the book that, this isn't the first book you're with me, but if you haven't read The Unopened Present yet, you're wrong. As a parent, I know I'm doing this in front of you, but as a parent, if you haven't read The Unopened Present, you're wrong. It's a book you're going to want to give to anybody who's expecting a child. It's a heartfelt book. It talks about a letter you wrote to your son because you're an older dad, and he wasn't with us very long, and somebody said, well, you should publish this, and it is such an inspiring book. I hope we can get more of those sold as well. I appreciate you, Mr. Battle.
Always my pleasure. God bless America.
God bless America.
Think about it. A famous politician once said,